Alright guys, so Jamie Foxx plays a character named Max in this movie. And he also plays a character named Max in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. A.k.a. Electro. Pick this one! Anyway, hey there guys, what's up? What's going on? It's Autobot Mike 18 here. I hate that movie, but I couldn't help but realize as I was watching this movie that he's played a Max before. Oh boy. Anyway guys, what's going on? I'm back here with another one of my old movie reviews. As I said, I think in my last old movie review, which is for Deliverance, which should be up. It's not up now by the time I'm filming this, but it should be up by the time this goes up. I am going to be away for a week-long shoot for a movie I'm working on. A friend of mine is directing a feature, and I am working on it for the majority for a week away from home. So I am not going to be filming, and for that reason, I'm getting like a lot of videos out to you guys over the next couple of days, as many as I can, so that you guys have your videos, because I'll be gone from you for a week. Anyway, getting into the next old movie review, I'm continuing to just rattle them off. I got a bunch of Blu-rays in my collection that I just need to watch. Deliverance was one of them. Today's old movie review is for Collateral. Now, Collateral, my friends, was released in 2004, and it was directed by Michael Mann, who had also directed another thriller. This is a thriller, but he directed another thriller / heist film. That was a heist film. This isn't. This is more just straight up thriller named Heat, which I also own in my collection and still have not yet watched. And people have recommended this and Heat to me a billion times, so I watched Collateral. Be happy with me. So guys, let's just get right to it with Collateral. A lot of people, however, regard this as one of the best thrillers of the 2000s. A lot of people loved Collateral when it was released. I'm going to tell you guys where I stand in all of this. So guys, Collateral is set in LA and follows an LA cab driver named Max, played by Jamie Foxx, and he picks up a fare of this really cool and collected guy. He's really like mysterious, has this gray hair, gray beard and everything, and his name is Vincent. He's played by Tom Cruise, and he picks up this fare and is, he's given instructions to bring Tom Cruise to where he wants to be dropped off at. Tom Cruise murders somebody, and we eventually find out that Tom Cruise is a hitman with a contracted list. He has to kill 5 people in this one night as per the job he was given, and he essentially enforces Jamie Foxx to drive him around all night and kill off all these people on this list that he has, and Jamie Foxx is stuck in the middle just like a pickle, and he has to drive Tom Cruise around, and he's just this common everyday man, and he gets sucked into this world that he totally has no place being in when we first meet him, that he's not used to or anything, but Tom Cruise doesn't care. He's got to kill all these people. So there you have it, guys. That is Collateral, and right off the bat, I love the premise of this movie. I had read it on the back of the Blu-ray cover, and I was like, wow, that actually sounds really cool and really different. I don't think we had seen a movie like Collateral with that same kind of premise when it came out, since it came out in 2004. So I was immediately invested in the movie from the premise alone, and from the movie itself, like actually watching it and watching scene go by of Jamie Foxx having to bring Tom Cruise to this one house or something to kill off this guy, Jamie Foxx trying to get out of this in some way. I thought was just brilliant. I really, really had a fun time watching Collateral, and it's an amazing high-stakes thriller that I think just is executed perfectly in terms of directing and acting and camera work and all that. I think is really well done, and I think where the movie really is a powerhouse is the screenplay, and that's probably one of my favorite aspects about Collateral, is that it has a good screenplay. The characters aren't all idiots. The tension is there. It's present, and I totally feel it. throughout several moments in this movie that are very well crafted and executed in the final cut, and I was just really invested and invigorated in the movie. So in terms of talking about the script, I want to talk about something that I think works, that is always important in every script. You guys know this. The characters. You have to get the characters right. You have to have good characters you actually give a shit about, or else you're not going to like the movie as much. And I think that this movie does an excellent job nailing down these two characters. And I want to talk for a few minutes about both of them because I was so fascinated by both of them within the film. First off, I think the main character of this movie, and I think most of you guys will agree with me, is Jamie Foxx's character. I know Tom Cruise is getting top billing because he's more well-known, and he's Tom Cruise. He's been around since the 80s. Jamie Foxx, not as long, but has since picked up way more momentum since Collateral. This was probably one of those movies that everybody saw and said, okay, Jamie Foxx is freaking awesome. And then Ray came out a few months later and Jamie Foxx won the Oscar for that. Fun fact, Jamie Foxx was nominated for an Oscar for this, for supporting actor, and Ray for lead actor in the same year, and he won for Ray, which I think is really impressive. I haven't seen Ray, but this is an amazing Jamie Foxx performance. But why Jamie Foxx should have been a lead actor in this movie, should have been, I know he's nominated for Ray too, which is why they probably split him up into supporting, but he's totally the lead main character in my opinion. Anyway, I think that we are with him for more scenes than we are with Tom Cruise actually, which is why Tom Cruise is definitely supporting in my eyes. But regardless of that, I love the juxtaposition of these two completely different characters placed in this one confined space in this taxi when they are driving. Or essentially, they're in this world where one of them knows one way of doing things in life and the other one knows a way completely different. And they're so different, they not only work so well together as both actors and having good chemistry, but in the script itself at being these two different characters in the movie. So talking about Jamie Foxx first, as I said in my brief synopsis, he's the common everyday man who has a part-time taxi cab driving job. He doesn't specifically like to tell everybody that he's a taxi cab driver. It's not the most glamorous thing in the world. Maybe he tells everybody that he's doing something else. Like he wants to start his own limo company. He has aspirations. He has little character aspects of there are little character moments or actions that he does. Like for example, just to add onto something that makes him human and made me feel really connected to him throughout this entire movie, he keeps this little picture of this beautiful tropical island on the dashboard thing, you know, the thing up in a car, that mirror thing, that the flap thing that comes down. He keeps that taped to his mirror thing in his car, so you know that he has very human aspects for him. He's a cab driver who necessarily doesn't love what he's doing, even though he's incredibly very good at getting people at their destination at the right time they need to be at their destination. But he longs for something bigger, and when he's pulled into this journey with Tom Cruise, he's pulled into this problem just to see him try to get out of it and to see him get further and further invest into it and to see him change as a character from when we first meet him as this guy who's just completely fearful of what is going on and wants to find any way possible to get out of it alive, to a guy who has to defend himself and defend another person in this movie, which I won't spoil. I think was an amazing transformation and why I love Jamie Foxx's character in this movie. I thought he gave a brilliant performance as Max, and I was 100% into the movie because of how great of a character that was, in my opinion. Now, Tom Cruise, on the other hand, is a really cool, charming guy. You really don't know a lot about his past life, and I think that worked to a benefit of this movie, of keeping Tom Cruise in this more mysterious light. You don't know a lot about him. He's just this hitman who's incredibly good at what he does, and I think that aspect works incredibly well in this movie. He is very precise in executing somebody, okay? There's a certain way. He'll shoot you twice in the chest and once in the head, and he's so quick and agile about it, it makes you say, holy crap, this is a force to be reckoned with, and Tom Cruise absolutely is. He killed it in every single scene where he has to kill somebody, and I thought he did a great job, as he always does. Again, I just feel that Jamie Foxx is the lead in this movie. Tom Cruise is more so supporting. But that's just me. Anyway, moving on. So I think with those two great characters and sticking them in this plot that is so high stakes and octane that clocks in just exactly at the 2-hour mark is just a perfect thriller in its own right. And I think really added to my engagement, my overall engagement. So apart from just the characters, I think that the stakes themselves are very high octane and energetic and chaotic. That made me say, yeah, this is an amazing thriller. I think there are some very well-crafted sequences that are not only, and this is moving away from the screenplay, which is as good as it was, but also into the filmmaking that I thought was incredible in terms of certain sequences. Like, for example, one of the coolest sequences is definitely the club scene for me in terms of how it was shot, handheld camera work that worked very well, how it was cut together. It was a little disorienting for me the first time. I wasn't sure, like, it was cutting from character to character. I was like, holy crap, there are a lot of characters they're cutting to in this one nightclub scene. But at the same time, I liked how they did that. I liked that feeling of being disoriented. Like, I don't know who to follow in this scene because I could tell bad shit is going to happen. People are going to die. This is real. So I was totally invested into that, and I was really I loved how I did feel a little disoriented. So that's excellent editorial choices and excellent camera work choices, and I think Michael Mann overall did a fantastic job directing this movie. Surprisingly, the nightclub scene isn't my favorite scene in the movie. My favorite scene or moment in the movie is the final 30 to 25 minutes of the movie. That is where I was just totally in it, and I couldn't wait to see how these characters were going to get out of the situation, who was going to make it out alive, essentially. It's right after, let me just say this much, there is a car accident. That's all I'm going to say. Right from that moment on, I was 100% engaged. I couldn't take my eyes off of the damn screen. I was so into it from that moment on. And I was into the rest of the movie beforehand, but that is my favorite moment. It goes from an office to a subway scene, and I just was 100% invested. And I couldn't wait to... The stakes were there. The tension was there. The gunfire and everything was there. I really felt it strongly in that moment, and that's why it's my favorite moment in the movie. But there were other moments that I felt were also dialogue heavy that were also very well crafted and very highly suspense ridden. And one of those moments is set in a jazz club between Jamie Foxx, Tom Cruise, and this one jazz singer. And that whole time, I was on the edge of my seat. I was saying, something feels off about this scene. Something bad is going to happen. I know it. And I was absolutely right. So I love that moment as well, because the tension was there. Even though we're finding out more about this character that we just get introduced to, and even a little snippets about Tom Cruise's past, I was still into it, and I was still invested because I was like, something bad is going to happen, and I was absolutely right. So, excellent job, I think, on Michael Mann's part. As I said, the screenwriters, the performances are great, the editing, the pacing is fantastic. I think the camera work and lighting are really, really good. I think the LA setting really works. I think the chase or the hectic sequences in the movie are frantic and hectic, and I think work overall as a thriller. I think Collateral is truly one of the most investing and visually arresting thrillers I've seen in quite some time. I have but two drawbacks with the film that keep me from saying this is a perfect movie. I think this is a fantastic movie. I don't think it's a flawless movie. My one problem, and this isn't entirely the movie's fault, even though I did call it from the beginning, and they left a hint as to who the final person on this hit list was going to be, but I predicted it as the moment that we're introduced to this certain character, this final victim on the hit list, I immediately said, okay, they're going to come back into the plot somehow and be this last person on this hit list, and I was right. Not only does the back of the Blu-ray, to anyone who owns the Blu-ray cover, not only does it spoil who gets involved in the action, the story, very poorly, so I feel bad for anyone who hasn't seen this movie like me, and I said, okay, yeah, that character's going to come back in. But it was obvious. I found it to be obvious anyway. So there you have it. That's one of my problems I had with the movie. I found that predictable. not cliche. I didn't find anything cliched written about the script, but I found that predictable, and I was like, okay. Even though I loved the last 30 minutes, that was my favorite moment, even though I knew what was going to happen going into that final 30 minutes, I was 100% invested to see the characters get out of it alive. So that's why I was into it and why it worked for me still, even though I found that one aspect of it predictable. My only other flaw with the movie, and this is something minor, and I don't know if this was intentional or not, but there are some moments, I know they shot this movie, I think on film and digital, I think it was like a mixture of both, but there are some moments, I don't know if it was the digital shots or the film shots, I don't know, but or especially early on, a lot of the shots were very grainy, and I don't know if it was the Blu-ray transfer. I doubt it. It felt more like the picture itself, not the quality of the image, but how when they actually shot it. And I don't know if it was intentional or not, and I really wasn't sure, but that kind of just took me out of the shot composition, you know what I mean? So I don't know if it was intentional or not, but kind of took me out of the movie a little bit. That was my only flaws with the movie. I still really highly recommend Collateral. It's fun, it's engaging, it is thrilling as a thriller should be, and it worked as a thriller should work. That said, I'm going to give Collateral a solid grade of a 9.25 out of 10 or an A-. I definitely recommend this movie to anyone who hasn't seen it. Guys, what are your thoughts on Collateral? I'm sure most of you have already seen it, unlike me. If you did see it, let me know what you thought of it down below in the comments. I greatly appreciate that. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching my videos. I will see you in my next one. Bye-bye, guys.